Oh, there you are. Okay, good morning. I'm here at Liberty Park, and not by my own will. Jimmy wanted to go to 6:30 in the morning softball practice because I love my husband. I'm here, and so any of you listening that love your husbands, you should be making that extra step to step out of your comfort zone and do for them as well. So, going through the book by John Ortberg, and I'm going through this book, The Life You've Always Wanted, because of my classes I'm taking for my pastoral certification. And the last class I took for this book was Ministerial Practicum 1. And it's just learning basic ministry things that you need to know, basic disciplines. And so I don't think it was by accident that I'm on chapter 5, and it's talking about an unhurried life, the practice of slowing. Isn't that fantastic? And I was reading this while I was running. I thought that was really opportune. It was talking about ruthlessly eliminating hurry from your life. Now, I find myself ruthlessly eliminating hurry from my life. Hello, Miss Phoebe. I hope you're not hurried right now and you can enjoy the time we're sitting. By not running while I'm sharing this with you. So that's my attempt at ruthlessly eliminating hurry from my life. But it's talking about hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day. Hurry can destroy our souls. Hurry can keep us from living well. Hurry is not of the devil. Hurry is the devil. So when we tell, and I have to confess, I literally told the baby yesterday, hurry up, you need to hurry up, we need to go, 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 go. I was telling her, she was just walking slow. And so literally I'm telling her, you need to just devil up, let's go, devil up. And I'm just like, really? That's what I'm saying. So I am truly convicted. I am truly convicted. Hey, Nina. Hey, Elena. I'm glad you guys are here. Elena's, gosh, you're on the other side of the country, so I'm glad you're joining us this morning. Talking about an unhurried life, the practice of slowing. So just said how hurry can keep us from living well. Hurry is not of the devil. Hurry is the devil. And any of you guys, all you guys know me, I am hurry. If the hurry was in a dictionary, I would be there. I'm constantly on the go. I'm constantly doing something. And what I've tried to do since I started all my classes is to plan things enough ahead of time so I'm not hurried. And that's why I'm reading this book this morning, because I would have rather just ran and crocheted and not read. But I couldn't run, crochet, and read at the same time. There are limits. So what happens when we hurry is we skim our lives instead of actually living them. Hi, Elena. It's good to see you, hon. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to get to the end of my life and realize I've skimmed my life instead of actually lived my life. God wants us to live our lives wholly and to the fullest, not to get by on skim milk. God wants us to have that richness in life, not the skim of what life offers. Hurried people live with a sense that they are not driven or hurried. So if we're not hurried, we live with the sense that there is adequate time to do what needs to be done each day. And I've really been trying to do that because I've seen that when I hurry, it just stresses me out, which stresses everybody else out. So I've tried to allot time to make sure that I'm able to do all the things that I need to get done. But that takes planning, and it takes setting time aside to make sure that I can set up a plan of what needs to be done. But then if I don't achieve that plan, then it's okay. It's not like I'm a failure because I didn't knock off everything on my list. I make a plan, I give it to the Lord, I get accomplished what I can in that day, and then what I can't, I just can't. It talks about how Jesus urged his disciples to take time out. And any of you guys that are listening, feel free to ask questions, comment, anything, because this is not just me talking, it's dialogue back and forth. So I can see your comments and I'd love to interact with you. And always feel free to subscribe so the next time I'm live and doing life that you could do life with me. Jesus urged his disciples to take time out. Following Jesus cannot be done at a sprint. If we want to follow someone, we can't go faster than the one who's leading. And I think there's that one thing, don't go faster than your guardian angel can follow or lead or something like that. And so that's what it's saying. You know, if we want to follow Christ, then we have to stay behind him and not run out in front of him. And a lot of times we think we know best, and we think we know what needs to get done and when it needs to get done and how it needs to get done. And really, if we've made the plan and we've set it aside and we leave it with an open hand before God, then however that looks, it'll filter through God's hand, and that's what we're supposed to have. Jesus was often busy. I liked this. Jesus was often busy, but never hurried. Hurry is not just a disordered schedule. Hurry is a disordered heart. And honestly, I grew up in a car. I grew up constantly going. We drove to school 20 minutes on a freeway and home the same way. And I ate breakfast in the car. I ate dinner in the car. Hi, Lydia. Hi, Alexandria. We're talking about how to live an unhurried life. That hurry is not of the devil, but it is the devil. And so I was just talking about how I grew up hurried. My mother was always hurried. We were always going. We were always on the go. So I also live a life of hurry. I'm always on the go. But you can live a life of busyness, but still have peace. And I found just recently with all the classes that I'm taking that I can be hurried, but I can still have inner peace. But nevertheless, when the baby's going slow or when other people are slow, I find myself wanting to hurry them. All the things I need to get done in a day, I feel confident and peaceful with. But when others are still going slow, I think I've now transferred that hurriedness onto others, and that's my bad, not theirs. So how do you know if you're living a hurried life? You're constantly speeding up daily activities. So you feel like we read faster, we talk faster, we listen faster. We're nodding our head like, yeah, so they'll shut up so we can give our 2 cents, you know. And I struggle with all of these a lot anyway, because I am ADD and I'm like constantly going, and my mind is constantly going, and I'm constantly thinking 5 things ahead. But I really have to train myself that when someone's talking to me, I can focus on them. And I know just doing this is more than most people can do. I mean, I'm live streaming, I'm watching who's talking, I'm reading, I'm sharing. So I already do a lot more, but I really do. I have a peace about everything I'm doing right now, just because I know I'm not hurried. There's no rush. I can spend as much time as I need to just sharing what God's word and God's principles have given me. So God doesn't want us to hurry. God wants us to have peace, and to have peace that surpasses understanding. And in order to have peace that surpasses understanding, we have to lay down hurriedness at the foot of the cross. And multiple tasking, kind of just like what we're doing here. Doing or thinking more than one thing at a time. So if you're doing or thinking more than one thing at a time, and you're lacking the ability to love others in the process, you're allowing hurry to overtake your life. If you're multitasking and doing more than one thing at a time, yet you can still lay all that aside to love someone, then you're not overcome by hurry. Okay, so don't feel like, okay, I can never multitask. I can never talk fast, because some of us, me, that's me. This is me. But it's your heart, because only God knows your heart. So if you're doing all these things and your heart is hurried and you're rushed and you feel that strain of gotta go, that's not of God. But if you're doing all these things and you feel like, I'm just going along my day and I'm giving it up to the Lord, and what I get done, and what I don't, then you're allowing God to lead your day. So that's the difference. And I'm multitasking as I run and read and take notes at the same time. Another form of is clutter. If you're hurried, you have clutter. And clutter could be your closets are full of clutter. Your bed is full of clutter. There's the clutter spots throughout your house, but your life is cluttered. You know, there's things in your life that are weighing you down. You're missing dates. You're missing appointments. You don't follow through. You know, those are all signs of hurriedness that are overtaking your life. That's not God's best for you. God wants you to be able to live a life of peace. And it doesn't mean that you can't have things planned in your life. It just means that as you have those plans set, lay them at the foot of the cross, accomplish what you can, and allow God to work out the rest. If it doesn't get done today, guess what? His mercy's new every morning, and you have another day if you have another day. And whatever you don't get it done in this day, and if today would be your last day, then obviously that wasn't meant for you to do anyway. So have a peace. Have a peace. Another form of seeing if you have a hurried life is superficiality. Great word. Is because we have largely traded wisdom for information. We've exchanged depth for breadth. We want microwave maturity. And there have been people that, have said, well, you could do this and you can be in the Word and you could do, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able, and 25 years of being in the Word is not going to happen in 2 months. It's just not. If you want spiritual maturity, you have to be in the Word daily. You have to be in prayer. You have to be in fellowship. And it wasn't like I did the Word and prayer and fellowship every single day for the last 25 years. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I've done. But at every opportunity when there's fellowship or a time to learn from somebody or a time to be able to grow my spirituality, I was there. I've been hungry. I'm hungry. I don't want to stay where I was. I don't want to be who I was a year from now. And I'm not. God has totally changed my life beyond what I could possibly imagine, even just within this year. So that is what God has for you. Don't exchange just knowing the Bible for living the Bible. Don't exchange doing a bunch for God for spending time with God. You have a hurried life if you're unable to love, if you're not able to love. Love and hurry are fundamentally incompatible. Love always takes time, and time is the one thing hurried people don't have. So with your kids, with your friends, with your spouse, with your coworkers, if you are too hurried to love them the way God would want you to love them, then guess what? You are hurried. And I'm just as guilty. So I'm not pointing the finger at you. I'm pointing the 4 fingers back at me. We're all hurried. We all are hurried. And what we need to do is lay it down. It's not that important. What is the most important thing? Love God, love others. Period. And in the process, have a plan of what you can get done and what you can accomplish. But pretty much love God, love others. And another sign of having a hurried life is sunset fatigue. Okay, this is me to a T, and I don't know if it's because of being ADD and the Adderall I'm on, but sunset fatigue is when we're too tired, too drained, too preoccupied to love the people to whom we've made the deepest promises. So you're rushing through the day and you're getting everything done, and you get home and you plop. That's it. That's all you have. You literally, the battery is out and you wind down and you're done. And that's what your family, your loved ones, your spouse, that's what they get of you. That's all that's left of you is the puddle left at the end of the day. And it takes determination to be able to really make sure that you're setting enough of you aside to be able to spend time with those you really love at the end of the day. It's not easy, and I think that's why I love to run sometimes at night, because it gives me enough energy to be able to stay awake and stay with my family, because otherwise I definitely just crash at the end of the night. You have sunset fatigue, or part of that is rushing when there's no reason to rush. We rush to the fastest lane at the grocery store. We rush to the fastest lane in traffic. We're rushing here and rushing there. Underlying tensions that cause sharp words or quarrels. We're constantly backbiting and bitter with people when it's really us that are the problem, not them. And we're just taking it out on them. We have a loss of gratitude and wonder. It's beautiful out here. I was cold in the morning, but I was blessed to be able to be out here with my husband, and he's out there doing softball with these people, and the earliest morning I could possibly imagine. But you know what? We're together, and it's beautiful out here. Granted, that's maybe not the safest place in town, but nevertheless, it's beautiful out here. So find wonder, find gratitude in where you are and what you're doing. Self-destructive escapes of hurried people, alcohol, too much TV, too much of this, too much. And when these things take the place of real people is when we really need to reevaluate where we're at. You know, real people, or even God time. If those things are taking the place of your God time, then you're hurrying for nothing, because these things are worth nothing. So really take time to really see what God is really trying to speak to you. It talks about if we are to follow Jesus, we must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from our lives, because by definition, we can't move faster than the one we're following. We can become unhurried people. We can become patient people. And I know anytime anybody prays for patience, everybody in the circle goes, ooh, because God forbid somebody pray for patience, that they would become patient, because we all know what happens to be able to become patient. You have to suffer trials. Well, guess what? You're going to suffer trials anyway, whether you pray for patience or not. Hey, Nika, how you doing, honey? Whether you pray for patience or not, you're going to suffer trials. So maybe if you actually ask for patience and that's your focus in what you're doing, you can try to become unhurried and see that God has the ability to help you to become patient, because it is what's needed in our society. It is an unheard of thing to take the longest line at the grocery store, to willingly walk slowly behind people that are going too slow, to willingly take long when there's so much that needs to get done. And I've purposely arranged my schedule now to where I have times of less things to do, where I'm not hurried. And it was at the sacrifice of money, because, you can't have both sometimes. You can't sacrifice and have time to be able to be unhurried and still have sometimes that income that you need, or sometimes that time that you need for your you time. Sometimes we need to sacrifice our you time to be able to be unhurried by allowing us to be able to have time to be able to get things done that we want to get done. So a cure for the hurry sickness, slowing. And that's what I was just talking about. Being willing to go slow. Deliberately choosing to wait and makes hurry impossible. Tell God we are trusting Him to enable us to accomplish all we need to get done. So it talks about going through a day without a watch. Not honking your horn while you're driving. Eating your food slowly, 15 minutes between bites. Taking the long line at the grocery store. Those are all signs of, are you crazy? I have so much I need to get done. If I take that, I have to go. You know what, honestly, really, how much time are you going to save? And maybe that's a divine appointment that God's put before you. And I'm not telling you this like I'm perfect and I do it. It's definitely me getting talked to first. And the only reason I'm saying it to you is to keep me accountable, because if you see me failing, I'm very open to, hey, Chas, you just talked about this. You're failing at this. You need to watch it. I'm open to that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not above reproach. And anytime anybody wants to chime in and say something, you feel free. An unhurried life has a need for solitude. This is like totally foreign to me. Like, I can't even fathom having time to myself, much less blocks of time to myself, much less like a day of time to myself. And not just like, okay, this is my day for myself. I'm going to go get my nails done. I'm going to go shopping. No, they're talking about you withdrawing from conversation, withdrawing from the presence of others, from noise, from the constant barrage of stimulation, Facebook, TV, Pinterest. Is that like even possible? Like, is that like something we never do that, right? And so it's just like, really? Like, I don't even know what that looks like. And so it talks about having to actually, my husband's whistling at me. I love you. Practicing solitude. So you have to actually put it in your calendar. You have to actually schedule it. It's not something that's going to happen spontaneously. You have to purpose in your mind a period of time a day. It talks about just starting with like even 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day where you are completely in quiet. Away from people, away from sounds, away from any distraction, and focusing. And then working your way up to half a day, a few days. Like, I don't even know. I guess there's points in time when you're spiritual enough to get to a few days of solitude. I don't even know what that is. I I know people that are single and that maybe are by themselves, and that's like a possibility, but I've never in my life even fathomed having a few days of solitude away from people. That just is so foreign to me. So it talks about being still for a moment and quiet your mind. So that's the beginning of your solitude. Acknowledge that Jesus is present. So invite him to teach you. So your 5-minute break might look like you stop, you breathe in, right? Okay, obviously it wouldn't be here because you wouldn't hear the honking horn or the school or them yelling on the baseball field. But you get my idea, right? And you acknowledge that Jesus is present. So whatever that looks like. And you go back in your mind to when you first woke up. You go over your day. So you see how God works with you through the day. This is how you can review your day with God. And this is what they're talking about as far as maybe taking that moment of solitude at night to be able to recap your day. My mind wants to hurry, but my body can't right now. Right. And it's almost like God speaking to you, Nina, right? Like, okay, I want you to have this solitude time. I know you don't know how to take it, so I'm going to slow down your body right now. And if your mind can take the time to catch up to your body, which is already slow, maybe you'll find out whatever God is trying to speak to you through this, because he's not doing this for nothing. Obviously, you're in this situation for a reason, right? And that is the exact same place I was in July when I had my herniated disc. My mind was going so fast and my body just couldn't move. So I totally understand, Nina, where you're at and what's going on. Hi. But definitely taking the time to try and see what God's trying to show you through that time of solitude by God specifically taking the time to sometimes quiet our minds by quieting our bodies, because our bodies just can't keep up with where our minds and our desires want to go. So just taking the time to go through each day, each thing in the day, each scene in the day, reflecting on it, maybe giving gratitude for something that's happened through the day, or maybe there's a regret that you had through the day and giving it over to the Lord and asking for forgiveness, and then ending that time in prayer, asking God for his mercy and his love through those situations. So that's an example of it. But basically, you can also have what their extended solitude plan was just preparing your mind and heart. And they're saying take like from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, I don't even know if that's possible for anybody. But if you took what they're saying for 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes, this is not like your devotional time or anything other than just quiet time with God. I mean, they're talking about reading the Word, so it can be your devotional time, but I don't know if anybody ever really thinks of it like this. Maybe sometimes we do our devotional time around other people or in busyness. And this is specifically talking about where it's completely quiet. Like, get away from the sound and distractions of life. I am not in a solitude place, but this is where I'm at right now, and I just wanted to share it with you where I'm at. So, reading the Word and just going through the Word slowly for your 5 minutes, if that's what you have. And taking time to listen to what God's speaking to your heart. Writing down the responses you have, speaking to the Lord as to what he's speaking back to you. You know, writing down goals of what he's trying to talk to you in those 5 minutes. It's important for us to have times of solitude. I'm really excited to be able to implement this into my life. I really think it's going to be something that blesses my heart. I've had times of solitude now, but I haven't really put a focus on what I should be doing during those times of solitude, so they're kind of wasted. So I think we should definitely always take times aside, and God will speak to us, but we have to slow ourselves down. So that was chapter 5. Chapter 6 is on interrupting heaven, the practice of prayer. So I know a lot of us have a hard time praying because we start praying and then we get tired and then we get distracted and then we start thinking about things and we start getting angry at somebody for something they did, or we start thinking about what we want to eat or what we need to clean, or right? Am I right? Those are all the things that I start thinking about. That's why I literally have to do these things away from everyone and everything. I can never do my study or anything I'm doing in my house, because I literally will start washing dishes or looking at the floor, and this is dirty and there's a smell and this. So yeah, get away. There's always, even if you have to lock yourself in your car, get away. Prayer is something we generally associate with desperation. So how many times is prayer the last thing we do, right? There's crisis or desperation. We've run out of time and opportunity. We have no strength left. There are no other options. Okay, I guess all I can do is pray, right? Well, we can just pray. All we can do is pray. We can just pray. Really? Because that is our most important thing we can do. And desperation prayers have been the beginning of a spiritual life. So those prayers are not important to God, but they can't sustain our spiritual life. You can't, hey, Shannon. Shannon worked with my husband, Jimmy. I'm glad you're here. We're talking about interrupting heaven, so the practice of prayer. You can be desperate and you can pray, and that's a great thing. That's a great place to start, but it can't sustain your spiritual life. All of heaven stops for the prayers of the saints. It's a beautiful picture. In Revelations, it's what we're talking about right now. I was talking about last night when I was doing this live stream on Revelations. Prayers of real human beings like me and you interrupt heaven. When people pray, God stops. God listens. God hears. Your prayers are not unheard. You might feel they're unheard. You might feel God is not listening because maybe you have not had any time of solitude. Maybe you have not been in the Word. Maybe it is one of those desperation prayers and you haven't prayed in years. But God is still there nevertheless. And if you seek Him to find Him, you will find Him. History belongs to intercessors, to those who believe and pray the future into being. Interceding is what Jesus is doing now. So Jesus is interceding for us. How much more do we need to intercede for others? It does change things. Winning for it, the grace and protection and friendship of God. So that's what prayer is. Prayer is having the grace of God in that situation, having the protection of God in that situation, remembering that we have friendship with God in every situation. We are not alone. We can stop in whatever we're doing and immediately have conversation with God. And God is immediately there in the midst of that situation. No matter where we are in our spiritual walk, whether we have a great relationship with God or no relationship with God. We will never be anything else but beginners all our lives. So even though you think, I'm nowhere in my walk with God or my prayer life with God, we're all beginning each day anew. And I guess time is over. So I'm going to have to get back to my live stream with you guys on this. Look here's Jimmy. He's all done. We've been out since 6:30 doing baseball. Yay! Shannon's on. I don't know if she's still on, but she's right there. And where's somebody else you worked with? Oh, Phoebe was on. So I love you guys, and I will get back to this in a little while later on today, and I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk later. Make sure you subscribe and like it so next time I'm on you'll know. He's not much of a talker.